I'm making a hippie birthday card today. Join me. Hi friends, Dre here. Let's get started on this card. So I have a few supplies here, my VersaFine Clair ink, my Nuvo drops, and then I have these stamps from a stamp set from 2001 by Stampin' Up. It's kind of a groovy set is what the title of it is. I picked these up in a recent haul from the Scrap Creative Reuse store. I'm going to be using my VersaFine Clair in Acorn. And then I have this little piece of plastic, or I'm not sure what it's just like a wax paper from my sticky dots. I'm going to be using that to make some little dots with my Nuvo drops in white. And then I have picked out these stamps. I wasn't entirely certain how I wanted to lay out my card, so I just pulled out a couple of different options to try and play with a layout that was pleasing to me. So I wasn't sure if I was going to do hippie birthday or if I was going to use the flower peace and love, but I knew that I wanted to include my little Volkswagen bug on the card somewhere. And it makes sense just looking at the card um, to put it in that bottom corner. But you can see I'm kind of playing around with layout. It's kind of tricky because of this card base that's already got the paper glued on. And I do that a lot with my card bases. I just try to cut paper down and glue it onto a card front so that it's ready to go with embellishments. And all I have to do is really throw on a sentiment. But sometimes it backfires on me and then I can't figure out how to put embellishments on it very easily. Like in the case of this, I'm trying to figure out how to best make that work. So I have these post-it page flags, and I thought I'll use these. And this is my DIY magnetic sort of stamp positioner that I've made out of Lego. I'm just kind of showing you that in case you haven't seen it from a previous video. And the way that works is I have this magnetic sheet and I will place my card on the magnetic sheet. I use my stamp positioner, which has magnets on the back of it. And then I have these two smaller magnets that I can place over top of the sheet to hold my item in place. So I decided, instead of messing around with the layout, I'm going to try making some little center pieces for the flowers out of my white Nuvo drops. It's sped up at 4 times speed, but all I'm doing is making little circles. I was just kind of winging it. That's generally what I do when I'm working, but I'm trying to make sure I have enough. So I'm trying to count and make sure that I have enough of each size. Once I finish with the dots, I sort of tap the bottom and sort of try to make sure that they're flattening out or evening out because the little dots have these peaks from when I've been um, putting them onto the sheet with my nozzle. So I'm just trying to make sure that those go away or flatten, smooth out. I'm being pretty gentle here because if I'm not as gentle, or if the paper bends, or if I slip, then I might have a disaster on my hands. I've finished with all of those and I'm gonna just make sure that they are the right size to fit. And then I ended up deciding to make just a handful more because I wanted to have some backup in case there was a problem with some of these, or just I wanted to add more embellishments to other cards. I'm already here doing it, might as well. And there's a little bit more space on the wax paper. I'll put those aside to dry in a safe place where I won't be likely to bump them. Now it's time for me to figure out this layout and which stamps I'm going to use. So I'm unfolding my card flat and I'm laying it upside down. Sometimes upside down is just the easiest way for me and my brain to make sense of things. And then I'm laying my neodymium magnets covered in washi tape on top of the card to hold it down onto my magnetic sheet. So I have the stamp that says Hippie Birthday, and I'm using one of my sticky page flags to just cover up the word birthday so that only the word hippie will be exposed when I ink it up. Um, I'm using this stamp positioner, this homemade stamp positioner, to try and figure out how how do I get the words hippie and birthday to be side by side and lined up evenly. And so I'm just trying to use this. And I don't always, you know, get precise with my stamping, but sometimes it's important, or maybe not important, but just my preference to have things be kind of more evenly aligned on my card. After a few minutes of fussing, I finally got it where I thought I wanted it and decided to go ahead and ink up my stamp. I'm trying to just press my ink pad onto my stamp, but I wasn't certain that I was going to get enough ink on my stamp, so I decided to press it into the ink pad instead. And it does get quite a lot of ink on this post-it or a sticky note, this page flag. So I peeled it off and it had already kind of served its purpose by then. And then I used this small microfiber rag to just wipe off any ink from the word birthday that might have gotten onto it or bled through. And now my positioner is already in place. So now I just need to press my stamp and align it into where the positioner is and press a little bit on the word hippie, and then I just need to repeat the same steps with the word birthday, covering up the word hippie with another one of my sticky page flags, inking up my birthday, just the word birthday, and then using my cloth to wipe off any excess ink that got onto my word hippie. And I'm just kind of repeating the process. I wanted to include this in the video so you could kind of get a sense of it, even though I did some of this off camera or outside of the view. So here's where I kind of abandoned the positioner a little bit. Maybe not the smartest thing, but I was kind of just trying to align it with the other word based on where it was printed on the stamp. And sometimes that can betray you if the stamp underneath the wood block is not in perfect alignment with where the word is or where the image is on the outside. So in my case, it, worked out okay. I did include the stamp positioner immediately after I pressed it down so that just in case I pulled it up and it wasn't right or it needed to be re-stamped, I could put it back into place. But it turned out great. I'm kind of happy with it. The only, minor thing that I wish I would have done is think about the placement of the words and maybe center it a little bit more, but that's fine. So here I'm just kind of fussing with the alignment of the bug, and I got it kind of more aligned where I wanted it using this page flags again, just to kind of help me figure out where it's supposed to be. And then I used my DIY positioner again to get it just where I want it. I wanted there to be just a little bit of an edge of blank space on both sides around on both the corners. And then using the same VersaFine Clair Acorn ink, I'm going to be inking up this cute little VW bug stamp, and I'm double checking to make sure that there's full coverage everywhere. And then I have my one hand on the stamp positioner to make sure it doesn't wiggle out of place where I want it to be. So I had it kind of perfectly lined up and I'm just pressing down on it. You'll notice that I kind of rock it back and forth. I know that's not a technique that I should be using, but I was not sure how well these details were going to stamp. So that's kind of why I was trying to do that. And I put another hand before I lift up, I put another hand on the stamp positioner and pull it up, lift it up. And that way, in case my stamp needs to be restamped, the positioner is in the right place to be able to just put it back down. So everything looks just the way I wanted it. I think it turned out so adorably cute. And now I'm gonna bring in my centers of my flowers. I peeled them off already of the wax paper. They're really easy to peel off when I use this paper. And then I've already kind of laid them out on my card for where I want to place them in the centers of each of those flowers. Now I have this pickup tool that I made using an old pen in the shape of an ice cream. I took the dead pen out that was out of ink, and instead I put in that place a toothpick and pressed it down through the center. And then I dipped the toothpick into some wax from a candle, a white candle. I'm using my Barely Arts glue with a fine tip so that I can put some glue onto the centers of these flowers. And then I'm using my little pickup tool with the wax on the end to dab some glue onto the center and press that down. I've sped this up at 4 times speed so you don't get bored watching me place the centers down. If I had been smarter, I would have uh, just picked up the gem and put the glue on the center of the paper instead of on my flower. And it's a little bit, or on the flower center because it's a little bit fiddly, but it worked out. If you don't have a pickup tool, you can just use a needle. In this case, I'm just using the needle from the Barely Arts glue tip. It comes with a really long needle with a ball on the end. So you could do that. I like showing techniques that you don't need special tools for. So it's all finished. Here it is. I think it looks super cute. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What would you have done differently? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and check out some of my other videos. It would help my channel a lot. Bye!